If you're more specific, you can create a much more direct path to that desired outcome that you have. So since that time, really over the last 4 years, I've developed a much more specific vision. And because of that, I've been able to create much more specific results for myself. Instead of chasing what they want, they chase how they want to feel. Because if you can tap into what your core values are, what lights you up, what excites you, for me, I set my intentions, the universe helps me create the steps. I take the steps, the universe comes back with results. Then I get to set more intentions, the universe comes in with actions. I get to take those actions, the universe comes in with more results. And it's just this constant ebb and flow of energy helping you create the path to your future.
And that is coming up next on Bootstrapping Your Dreams Show, so stay tuned. So, the big question is this: how are ambitious people like us, who don't have a lot of resources, did not go to Ivy League colleges, were not born into wealth, how do we become resourceful enough, use our creativity, our dedication, and a little bit of crazy to bootstrap our way to realizing our dreams? Whether it is launching a new company, launching a new app, or making it to the top of the corporate ladder? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. We have created a tremendous community of bootstrappers, entrepreneurs, and professionals who are ambitious, resourceful, and want to get things done. We brainstorm, support, and help each other out. So come join us. Navigate to bootstrapping.group, join today, and get the Startup Founders Technology Accelerator video series absolutely free. If you enjoy this video, then do let us know by hitting that like button now. Or if you want us to improve our content, then go ahead and hit that thumbs down button and give us your honest feedback in the comment section below. Here at Tetanoodle, we are passionate about entrepreneurship, technology, and innovation. Every week, we bring you insightful and engaging videos, interviews, tips, tricks, and strategies to help you grow your business or rise in your corporate profession. If you're new here, please do consider subscribing, and do not forget to hit that bell icon so that you are notified when we publish new content.
Hello and welcome to this new episode of Bootstrapping Your Dreams Show. I'm your host Manuj Aggarwal, and today we'll be talking with Bri Seeley. Equipped with a degree in psychology as well as fashion design, Bri started a vocational rehabilitation counselor and worked with various employers. Later, she authored the Inspirational Woman project book, an online series. Bri has also worked for various media outlets as writer, blogger, and podcast host. She was a contributing blogger for Huffington Post. Her book, Permission to Leap, made her a best-selling author on Amazon. This book inspires and guides you to bring your vision to life. And as a professional public speaker, Bri has been inspiring audiences around the world for the last 6 years, supporting them to bring their dreams to life. She has ventured into the world of entrepreneurship at a very young age. After successfully overcoming the initial struggling phase, she cleared her path to her desired future, becoming a successful entrepreneur. Not only that, Bri is also a transformational success coach and a hypnotherapist for entrepreneurs. Awesome. Today, after 13 years into her entrepreneurial journey, she has trained close to 5,000 people around the world and helped numerous entrepreneurs find their business strategy, set up their systems, build teams, grow their revenue, receive attention and publicity, and create huge impact in the world. Bri wears many feathers in her cap. She's an entrepreneur, an entrepreneurial coach, speaker, and a best-selling author. She has received many accolades for her work, named Top 40 Millennial Influencer to Follow in 2018 by New3, and a recipient of Outstanding Small Business Owners Award by Los Angeles Mayor Office. Awesome. Last but not least, she has owned and operating businesses ranging from product-based to event-based to service-based to retail-based over the last 13 years. Wow, that's amazing accomplishment, Bri. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
All right. So just so we get started, tell us a little bit about your story. How did you get started? Your first struggles in the entrepreneurial journey that you've had.
Yeah, so I actually started pretty young. I was raised by a single mom, and my days after school were spent at her workplace. So I was training her employees to use cash registers when I was 5 years old, helping her, restock shelves and, manage the tills at the end of the night and all of those things. And then she ventured into entrepreneurship on her own. I helped her after school with businesses. When I was in high school, I would run the family business in the summer, and it just kind of became something that I think is in my blood, honestly. Entrepreneurship, it's something that I never thought I wanted. And then when I was the Vocational Rehabilitation Counselor, I got very clear on the fact that I need freedom. I need to control my own schedule. I want to make an impact in the world. And I really want to help people that want to be helped. And so the best way for me to do that was really to venture out on my own. And I would say that probably the preliminary struggle that I had as an entrepreneur was that I did start my first solo business as I had a day job. And you mentioned mindset earlier, and I'm a huge, huge believer in mindset. Your beliefs determine your reality. And one of the beliefs that I had picked up along my childhood was that entrepreneurs can't pay themselves. You can't make enough money as an entrepreneur to give yourself a paycheck. And that was very true for the first 9 years of my entrepreneurial career. And so for 8 of those years, I had a job because I didn't believe it was possible to make enough money to support myself and my business. My business was self-sustaining, but it couldn't support me. And so I made a shift about 4.5, 5 years ago that revolutionized my entire life, my entire business. And now I get to take home a paycheck. I don't have a day job. I've been almost 6 years, I think, as a full-time entrepreneur, and just really enjoying the freedom and the success I've created for myself.
That's great. Awesome. So now you brought up 2 turning points in your life. One was when you realized that you wanted to be your own boss and you wanted to control your own schedule. And the second one, realizing that, you picked up this false belief and it sort of, triggered something in you, which caused you to change the way that you live your life. So can you tell us about these triggers? What actually caused them? Because I feel that a lot of people go through life, and at some point in their life, they sort of listen, they hear this faint voice in their conscious, but some people listen to it, some people ignore it. So I want to hear from you, what was your story? How did it all happen?
Yeah. So I am not one that easily ignores things. I was always that obnoxious child that asked why, but why, but why? Why is it that way? Why is that happening like that? My mom used to get so annoyed with me because oftentimes too, I wouldn't even listen for the answer.
Yeah.
Within myself, I had to listen to the answer. So I knew that I wasn't fulfilled and that I wasn't satisfied in my day job. And I can tend to spiral down into depressive episodes. And I really found myself in a depressive episode in about 2009. I would, get up every morning, go straight into work as hard as I could, come home as early as I could, take a nap, wake up for dinner, work on my business a little bit, go back to the couch, fall asleep in front of the TV, wake up a few hours later, go to bed for the night, wake up the next morning, do it again. And I tend to be a pretty vibrant, energetic, vivacious woman. And so for me to be going through basically a sleep cycle of eat, sleep, work, repeat, it's not me. So I had to begin asking why. Why am I not feeling fulfilled? Why am I not wanting to get out of bed every morning? Why am I coming home and immediately going back to sleep again? I was escaping the fact that I wasn't fulfilled and I wasn't happy. So that turning point for me was actually a big one, because I not only realized it was time to take my business seriously, I also left a long-term relationship and I bought a house for myself. And I really started making moves in my life to create the reality I wanted to be living rather than the reality that I was living or that I had created for myself in the past.
Yeah, I see. I see. That's amazing. And did you, when you started, as you put it, like when you started creating this life, did you have a long-term and clear vision for what you wanted it to be?
I had no idea. All I knew at the time was that I didn't want what I had in the past. So I knew that I didn't want to be an employee anymore. And I knew that at the time I was running a fashion brand because both of my degrees are in fashion design. And so I thought like, oh, that makes sense, right? I'll just start my own fashion business. So all I knew at the time was I want to do fashion because I like it. I enjoy it. I love creating, and I don't want to have a job. And that was kind of the beginning of my vision. Now, as I've come to learn over the last 10 years, if you're focusing on what you don't want, you just end up getting more of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good to be a little bit more clear about what it is that you are creating. I was just recording a training for some of my clients, and I talk about this all the time, is that if you go to Siri on your phone and say, hey, Siri, take me anywhere. Mm-hmm. She can't take you there because she doesn't have a destination. Yeah. So if your vision is like, I don't care, I'll take anything, you will literally get anything and everything. If you're more specific, you can create a much more direct path to that desired outcome that you have. So since that time, really over the last 4 years, I've developed a much more specific vision. And because of that, I've been able to create much more specific results for myself. For example, I moved to New York this year because that was really important to me. A few years ago, I moved into my dream place in Los Angeles. That was my specific vision, and I created it for myself. Several years ago, I created my first 6-figure year. That was really important to me. Right now, I'm in the process of creating a 7-figure year. That's really important to me. But if you don't know where you're going, you literally cannot get there.
Yeah, that's so true. Now, can you share any strategies or tactics which people can adopt to clarify their vision? Because I completely agree with you that if you don't have clarity, you cannot get there. But I find a lot of people just sort of, they have a faint idea, okay, I don't want to do this, but I don't know what is next. And so, they get into this roller coaster ride of trying out different things and not really understanding where they're going. So what was your process in clarifying your vision, if you can share it?
So the first, if someone's not super specific about exactly what it is they want, I highly recommend that instead of chasing what they want, they chase how they want to feel. Because if you can tap into what your core values are, what lights you up, what excites you, for me, the feeling of freedom is everything. Every single one of my days is centered around how can I create freedom for myself today? So if you don't know what that looks like, I didn't know what freedom looked like for myself 10 years ago. Now I'm pretty clear on it because I've had 10 years of practicing what freedom looks and feels like. Yeah. But if you can start with the feeling of like, oh, I know what freedom feels like in my body. I can feel it. It's this tingling in my solar plexus. It's this excitement in my heart. It's this feeling that this weight has been like lifted off my back. Then you can start to understand, when do you feel free in your life? When do you not feel free in your life? So you start saying no to the things that help you not or make you not feel free. And you say yes more to the things that do make you feel free. And then the more that you can be in the feeling of that freedom, it clears up your vision to be able to see what it is that you clearly want.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, this also implies that you must have a very high level of self-awareness, right? To be able to understand your own psyche and listen to the voice that is coming out from your heart, from your mind, from your consciousness, whatever you believe in. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. I believe that we actually kind of live in like two different worlds. I talk about this a lot in my book. There's the outer world that we're all very familiar with and we're very conditioned to place a lot of weight and emphasis and importance on. But there's also an inner world that goes on inside of us That's our psyche, that's our heart, that's our feelings, our emotions, what drives us, what motivates us. And I think you need to be more in tune with your inner world than you are with your outer world. Now, it can be a little hard for some people because we're so trained and conditioned to rely on our eyesight for what's real. And it becomes really hard for people to translate that into relying on their inner world as reality. But it is a shift that I believe everyone can make. And the more that you can be in touch with your inner world, you are going to then shift your outer world, because your outer world is really just responding to what's going on inside of you. So the more that you can be in tune with what's going on inside of you, the more quickly your outer world is going to change.
So is this going towards, the law of attraction and how you can create your own reality by changing your thought process?
Yeah, for me, the law of attraction has been huge. I think there's more that goes into it than what kind of the traditional law of attraction teachings have taught. I used to teach manifestation, and I kind of shifted into beginning to teach co-creation, because I really truly do believe that it is a dance between ourselves and, the laws of the universe / a higher /, whatever it is that you may or may not believe in. So I feel like some of the law of attraction stuff or the manifestation stuff can get a little victim-y in that, I told the universe what I wanted and it didn't deliver it to me. So like, I must be doing it wrong, or maybe there's something wrong with me, or I must not be deserving of it. When in actuality, oftentimes it's like, no, you just need to show up a little bit differently to interact and engage with the world that you've placed this order or this request or this desire to.
I see. So can you unpack that a little bit more for us? So what do you mean by co-creation, and how does that work? How is it different than just manifesting?
Yeah, so co-creation to me is, I have certain jobs within it, and the universe or God or whatever you want to call it has certain tasks within this as well. So I like to really be clear about like, what's my job and what's the universe's job? My job is to know what I want. My job is to know how it feels, to be really clear on why I want it. Then it's my job to dwell in that feeling as much as I can. I recommend to people, like, if you can connect in with your vision 5 to 10 times a day, do that. And I just actually wrote a new vision yesterday. I have it sitting here next to me. So I just wrote, this is my vision for the rest of this year. Nice. So, December 31st, 2019, this is what I want to be creating. So every single morning when I get up, my job is to know what I want, know why I want it, know how it feels, and connect in with what that vision feels like for me. So I do that, and then it's the universe's job to start showing me the steps I need to take to get there. So I sit after my meditation just in an open space and say, what actions could I take today to create this? And I let my intuition, I let my higher self, I let God, the universe, whatever you believe in, place within me these little seeds of like, oh, you could do this today. You could reach out to that person. What have you thought about this? You just launched this new program. Why don't you send an email to your list? And I let all of those inspired actions filter through me. Now, they're not my ego saying you need to do this. They're not the should part of myself, like, well, you should really do this or you should really do that. They're really, truly inspired actions. And then once I've received them, my job then is to go out and do them. Once I've done them, then it's the universe's job, or God, or whatever you believe in, to coordinate synchronicities, serendipities, opportunities, whatever that is, out in the physical world to bring the results of that desire, that wish into your life.
I see.
So it's like a dance. I feel like it's like a dance, right? So like I set my intentions, the universe helps me create the steps. I take the steps, the universe comes back with results. Then I get to set more intentions. The universe comes in with actions. I get to take those actions. The universe comes in with more results. And it's just this constant ebb and flow of energy helping you create the path to your future.
Got it. And now let's play devil's advocate, because, in some cases, what you may end up, the voice that you may hear is just be lazy, don't do anything, don't take any action, just relax. So how do you counter that? Like, how do you, obviously, as you said, like without action, there's not going to be any results. So how do you filter out these voices versus the ones that are going to be conducive to your long-term goal?
So some days, there are days where you literally just need to take a day off. Because, like, for example, right? Freedom for me. If being in my business every single day stops feeling like freedom, then I can't create the things that I want in my business. I have to be feeling that energy of freedom. I have to be in that energetic vibration in order to create the results I want. So at the beginning of my business, I used to work 7 days a week. Yeah. Every single day I was in my business doing all sorts of stuff. Now, my inspired actions on the weekends are go to the farmer's market and sit outside in the sun and buy yourself a bouquet of flowers and go do yoga and meal prep for yourself for the week. Because those are the things that are going to help me feel free throughout the week. And they may not look like direct actions in my business, but they're helping me be the best entrepreneur I can be so that I can lead my business to the success that I desire.
That's great. Great. Very good insights. Now, let's talk about some other people that you coach or that you interact with. What are some of their most common hurdles that you've experienced? Why can't they make the breakthroughs that you've been able to make, or some other successful people have been able to?
Yeah, so I work specifically with entrepreneurs, and one of the things that I really kind of keep a close pulse on is a lot of the entrepreneur statistics that are out there, a lot of the small business statistics that are out there. And you may or may not know that 50% of businesses fail within their first 5 years. Yeah. Now, I actually believe that this is because people aren't taught what it actually takes to be an entrepreneur.
Yes.
People are taught like, well, you just need to write a business plan, and you just need to open up a storefront, and you just need to, run Facebook ads or do this or do that. Mm-hmm. Yes, and if you don't have the habits of success, if you don't know what it takes to show up as a powerful entrepreneur in the world, if you don't know what it means to ask for what you want or to make offers to people and to sell your services and to do all those things, no business plan is going to create a successful business for you. So I really have found that like most entrepreneurs get into it because they have a good idea, or they are searching for freedom, or they, for whatever reason just want to be their own boss. Maybe they're really good at what they do. And so they start a business, but they don't actually know how to be an entrepreneur or how to run a business or what it actually takes to show up in your business 5 to 7 days a week to create the results you want. So I really help entrepreneurs more than anything. I help them with business strategy, absolutely, but it all starts with them. And if they're not leading their business, if they're not showing up powerfully in their business, no amount of action is going to save them.
Yeah. So tell me, what are the fears that hold people back? Because I agree with your statement that they need to work on themselves, they need to work in the business, they need to understand exactly what entrepreneurship means, and at the end of the day, if they're successful, it gets them what they're really looking for, whether it's freedom, whether it's money, or whatever it is. But why are so many people afraid of taking those steps and committing themselves and doing the things that they need to do?
So I think probably the top two ones that I hear are rejection or judgment from the people around them. A lot of people place a lot of weight on what other people think of them or how other people perceive them. And those things, and to be fair, it's a very, very, very primal fear. It's, when we were cavemen, if you were exiled from the community, it meant death. If you were out there on your own, you weren't going to survive. So I understand it. I totally get it. And we don't live in a caveman society anymore. So we have to find a way to communicate with our brain to let our brain know it's actually not a legitimate fear anymore. Like, our brain's still operating as if we're in the caveman era, but like, that's not our reality any longer. So there's that deep fear of judgment or rejection or, exile from our community, those that we love. That's a big one that I hear from a lot of entrepreneurs. The other one that I hear is the fear of failure, right? What if it doesn't work out? I actually got asked on a podcast interview yesterday, how do you ensure that your business becomes profitable? And I said, well, you can't. There's no guarantees in entrepreneurship. It's a risk. The things, though, that I have found for people to make sure that they succeed and that they don't fail is so much of that inner work, like we talked about. Being in tune with who you are, what you need, what you're desiring of, what's important to you in the world, how you lead, what your communication style is. Like, knowing yourself so much becomes that solid foundation upon which your business is built. And the other thing I would say, too, about the fear of failure is I actually don't really believe in failure. So I have officially closed more businesses and more projects than I have kept open. I think at this point I have maybe about a 15 to 20% success rate in my business ventures. Nice. But I don't actually see that as a bad thing. I see that as I had to have a product-based business to learn so much. I call that business my entrepreneurial training wheels, because I learned everything that I know now in my business from that business.
Yeah.
And having a fashion business cost a lot of money. It was the exact opposite of freedom. It was totally unaligned for me, and so when I closed that business, I actually didn't see it as a failure. I saw it as a pivot, an opportunity for me to step into the next evolution of who I was in the world as an entrepreneur.
Yeah. That's a very good point. Yeah, I mean, even when I look at failures, there are so many important lessons that came out of that, because they form the stepping stones towards the next venture. If we didn't have those failures, I don't think I would have noticed those lessons or learned them or internalized them as well.
And I don't think my current business would be nearly as successful. Mm-hmm. Actually, I know for a fact it wouldn't be nearly as successful as if I had not had those 8 years of experience beforehand.
That's great. All right. Now let's talk about your book, Permission to Leap, in which you outlined a few phrases anyone has to go through while deciding to take a leap in their life. So can you elaborate on these phases?
Yeah. So the first one is commitment. There's a lot of people that, especially for entrepreneurship, want to be entrepreneurs, but they sit on this fence of indecision, waffling back and forth. Do I, don't I? Do I, don't I? Do you let the fears win? Do you just proceed forward with your vision? And so in order to move forward in any direction, you got to get off that fence. You have to pick a side. You have to commit, whether it's moving forward with your dreams or not. You cannot move forward in any direction if you're in a place of indecision.
Yeah.
So the first step is always to commit. And then I recommend people then, once they've committed, really develop up, what is that vision that I want for myself? Where am I going? What is that end point that I'm aiming at in my life? I have lots of tools in the book around helping you create that vision and tools to help you connect with that vision. Because like I talked about with manifestation and co-creation, you have to be connecting in with that vision every single day. It's not like you write it once and then you forget about it. You have to engage with it and interact with it on a regular basis. Then, it talks about things like, how do you move through your doubts, fears, and hesitations? Because those things don't just magically disappear the second you decide to move forward with your vision. Then it talks about how do you actually take those inspired actions, just like I mentioned when we were talking about co-creation. And then how do you really make sure at the end of the day that you're remaining in alignment with that vision? Because, with my fashion business, I can tell you, I got way off of the path that I thought I was walking on. And by the time I finally looked up and was like, whoa, I'm miles away from where I'm supposed to be, it was too late and there was no getting back to being in that aligned path for that business. And I ended up just walking away from it.
I see. Those are amazing. And I think, it takes a lot of courage to go through those phases, but I think the way that you put it makes total sense. And it is sure to get you the results that you need, but there may be a heavy price to pay for sure. And that takes courage, and entrepreneurship is about courage, I think. Now, let's talk about another one of the podcasts that I listened to where you mentioned a few massive mindset blocks that every entrepreneur struggles with. So have we already covered this, or do you have anything else to talk about? Because I believe mindset is a very key skill that you need to develop before you can think of any other business plans or any other strategies for your business. You need to get your mindset right. So what will you say to that?
I absolutely agree. I mean, like we've talked about, that inner world, that where your mind is at, where your beliefs are at, where your thoughts are at, is what is going to inevitably create the results that you either want or don't want. If your mindset is on point and it's aligned, then you're going to be able to create the results you want. If you haven't dealt with your mindset and you're still running on old programming that maybe was passed down to you from your parents or teachers or whatever, and you hold on to those things and you don't deal with them or change them, it's going to end up creating results that you don't want. So I live by the firm knowing that your beliefs create your reality. So if you're not willing to redefine your beliefs, if you're running off of beliefs that were given to you by people that don't want the same things as you, you're not going to be able to create what it is that you desire. Yeah. So if you want to create a new reality, the first step is to start with your mindset, your thoughts, and your beliefs. That's what's running your entire show. Your mind runs your actions, your words, your habits, everything. So if you want to create a new reality for yourself, you have got to start with your mind.
And, this is one problem that a lot of people face, which is a chicken and egg situation where, they're already wrapped inside the fog of their thoughts, whatever thoughts they have been programmed with. And now how do they realize that, they are sort of, walking like a zombie in this world and taking life as it comes, and to take action to change those thoughts? So that's the first step, right? So will you say, like, talking to a coach, or what is that trigger that people can adopt in their lives to actually see there is a different path?
Yeah. So, the first step I always say for anyone is awareness. Now, if you don't have the ability to be self-aware, you're going to have to get some help. In fact, I would say I'm hyper self-aware, and I still invest in getting help in my business because you don't know what you don't know. Yeah. And there are certain blind spots that as humans, we just cannot see within ourselves. So I'm a huge proponent. When I started my coaching business, actually before I even started my coaching business, I hired a coach because I knew that I couldn't do it on my own. I couldn't do it with my current level of thoughts and beliefs. I couldn't do it with my current understanding of how business worked. So before I even knew that I was venturing down this path, I hired a coach, and I made a very significant investment in myself to ensure my success. Because I don't know. I'm kind of an all or nothing person. I don't really like to dabble. So I just jumped straight in and was like, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it right, and I'm going to commit to it. So if you are at the place where you're able to hire someone to help you, I would say absolutely 100% do it. If you're not at the place to do that, there are so many great online courses and programs, depending on what kind of mindset stuff you're looking at. I have a lot of money mindset stuff that will be coming out in the next several months. But find someone who is particularly skilled in what it is that you're looking to work through, and learn everything you can from them, because it is really hard. It's like a fish doesn't know that they swim in water, right? Like they're just in water. And if you're that fish and you just don't know that you're in water, it becomes really difficult to take yourself out of that and see it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, that's so true, and thanks a lot for sharing your insights about this. Is there anything else that you will like to share with entrepreneurs or professionals in the audience?
Ooh, that's a very loaded question. I mean, I really think the biggest thing for entrepreneurs is, yes, absolutely have a brilliant business concept, but do yourself a favor and work on yourself as well, because your business can never surpass you. And if you don't work on you, your business is just not going to be successful. So take some time. I took 9 months and just really worked hard on myself. I scrubbed myself clean. I broke myself down. I dissected and disintegrated every old piece of me and put myself back together again. And that's why I was able to kind of accelerate my business this time. And if you have the opportunity to work with someone, give yourself that gift and really ensure that what you're doing and what you're working towards is going to see the results you desire.
Awesome. That's great. And now, before I let you go, can you tell us how people can reach out to you?
Yes, a few different ways. One, you can go on my website, which is briseeley.com. Two, I happen to be particularly fond of Instagram. So if you're on Instagram, come hang out with me. My handle is my name, Bri Seeley. And I just downloaded TikTok this morning. Are you on TikTok?
Well, I'm not, but it's the latest thing with the millennials, from what I hear.
Yeah, I'm going to try it. It looks like fun.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. So if you're on TikTok and you want to start, engaging with me, it's going to be a new fun experiment and adventure. I'm very excited for it. There will be lots of entrepreneurial stuff, but also probably some cat stuff and travel. So come join me there and reach out if you have any questions about this, if you need any support. I love, love, love talking to entrepreneurs. So come find me and jam with me.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for being with us today and sharing your knowledge and wisdom with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's all for now. Until next time. Now, if you're an entrepreneur or a career professional, then I invite you to join our growing community. Navigate to bootstrapping.group. As a welcome bonus, you will get the Startup Founders Technology Accelerator video series and Mastering Your Inner Game video series absolutely free. This series of short videos address some core issues which are instrumental in helping you move forward in your business or career. The videos are yours to view and share for free. No obligations or strings attached, except for one. You have to take action and implement it. So join us today. Navigate to bootstrapping.group. If you want more engaging videos and insightful interviews with industry's thought leaders, then check out the other videos we have picked for you. The link is right there. And if you want to be notified about our new content, please do consider subscribing to our channel.